Welcome to our channel, where we explore the timeless truths that offer solace and guidance in life's most challenging moments. Today, we delve into the profound concept of finding refuge in God amidst the storms of life. In a world filled with uncertainty and turmoil, the idea of God as our refuge offers a beacon of hope and a source of strength unlike any other. In the hustle and bustle of life, we often find ourselves facing challenges, obstacles, and moments of despair. In such times, seeking refuge becomes essential. But where can we find true refuge amidst the chaos? Many turn to various avenues, yet one timeless source remains steadfast: God. In this script, we delve into the concept of finding refuge in God during times of trouble, exploring the comfort, strength, and hope that can be discovered through faith. In the midst of uncertainty and adversity, turning to God as our refuge offers solace beyond compare. The very idea of God being our refuge implies a place of safety, protection, and peace amidst life's storms. Regardless of our beliefs or circumstances, embracing this concept can provide a sense of reassurance and stability in an ever-changing world. One of the most powerful aspects of finding refuge in God is the unconditional love and acceptance that accompanies it. Unlike seeking refuge in material possessions or human relationships, God's love knows no bounds. It extends to all, offering a refuge that is open to anyone in need, regardless of their past or present circumstances. Moreover, turning to God as our refuge can bring clarity and perspective to our troubles. In moments of despair, it's easy to become consumed by fear, doubt, and anxiety. However, by placing our trust in God, we can find strength and courage to face whatever challenges may come our way. Throughout history, countless individuals have found refuge in God during their darkest hours. From the Psalms of King David to the prayers of the prophet Elijah, stories of finding solace in God's presence are woven throughout religious texts and traditions. These narratives serve as a testament to the enduring power of faith in times of trouble. Finding refuge in God doesn't mean that our troubles will magically disappear. Rather, it provides us with the inner peace and resilience needed to navigate life's storms with grace and dignity. It's about finding comfort in the knowledge that we are not alone and that God is walking alongside us every step of the way. In addition to offering comfort and strength, finding refuge in God can also cultivate a sense of gratitude and humility within us. When we recognize God's role as our ultimate refuge, it prompts us to acknowledge our dependence on Him and to surrender our worries and fears into His capable hands. Furthermore, turning to God as our refuge can inspire us to extend compassion and support to others in need. Just as we find comfort in God's embrace during our times of trouble, we are called to be a source of refuge and encouragement to those around us who may be struggling. Ultimately, finding refuge in God is not a one-time event but a continuous journey of faith and trust. It requires us to cultivate a deep and intimate relationship with the divine, rooted in prayer, meditation, and reflection. In doing so, we can experience the transformative power of God's love and presence in our lives. Let us remember that in times of trouble, God stands as our unwavering refuge. Through faith, prayer, and trust, we can find comfort, strength, and hope in His loving embrace. May we always turn to God as our refuge, knowing that in Him we will find peace amidst life's storms. One of the beautiful aspects of finding refuge in God is the sense of purpose and direction it provides. When we entrust our troubles to God, we are reminded that He has a plan for each of us, and nothing that we face is beyond His control. This assurance can give us the courage to persevere through difficult times, knowing that God is guiding us every step of the way. Moreover, finding refuge in God invites us to cultivate a spirit of forgiveness and reconciliation. In moments of conflict or hardship, it's easy to hold on to grudges or harbor resentment. However, by seeking refuge in God's love and mercy, we can find the strength to extend forgiveness to others and experience the healing power of reconciliation. Turning to God as our refuge also encourages us to embrace vulnerability and authenticity. In a world that often values self-sufficiency and independence, admitting our need for God's help can feel counterintuitive. Yet, it's in our moments of vulnerability that we can experience God's presence most deeply, finding comfort and strength in His unconditional love. Furthermore, finding refuge in God can inspire us to live lives of compassion and justice. As we reflect on God's role as our ultimate refuge, we are called to extend that same refuge to those who are marginalized, oppressed, or in need. By advocating for the vulnerable and standing up against injustice, we become vessels of God's love and refuge in the world. In addition to providing comfort and strength, finding refuge in God can also bring a sense of peace and serenity to our souls. In the midst of life's chaos and turmoil, God offers us a refuge of peace that surpasses all understanding. Through prayer, meditation, and trust in His divine providence, we can experience a deep and abiding sense of calm, even in the midst of life's storms. Moreover, finding refuge in God can deepen our sense of gratitude and appreciation for the blessings in our lives. When we take the time to acknowledge God's role as our ultimate refuge, it reminds us of the countless ways He has provided for us and protected us throughout our journey. This awareness fills our hearts with gratitude and inspires us to live lives of thanksgiving and praise. Finding refuge in God also invites us to embrace a spirit of surrender and acceptance. Instead of trying to control every aspect of our lives, we can entrust our worries, fears, and anxieties to God, knowing that He is always with us and working for our good. This act of surrender frees us from the burden of trying to carry our troubles alone and allows us to experience the peace that comes from trusting in God's plan. Finding refuge in God is not just a source of comfort in times of trouble, but a transformative journey of faith and trust. It offers us strength, hope, and peace amidst life's storms and invites us to live lives of compassion, justice, and gratitude. May we always turn to God as our refuge, knowing that in Him we will find the strength and courage to face whatever challenges may come our way. One significant aspect of finding refuge in God is the renewal of our inner strength and resilience. In moments of despair and adversity, it's easy to feel depleted and overwhelmed. However, by turning to God as our refuge, we tap into a wellspring of divine energy and courage that empowers us to persevere through even the most challenging circumstances. This inner strength allows us to face our troubles with grace and fortitude, knowing that we are supported by the Almighty. Moreover, finding refuge in God fosters a sense of community and belonging. When we gather with fellow believers to worship, pray, and support one another, we experience God's presence in a tangible way. In times of trouble, our faith community becomes a source of refuge and solidarity, offering us comfort, encouragement, and companionship along the journey. Finding refuge in God also helps us to cultivate a spirit of resilience and adaptability. Life is filled with unexpected twists and turns, and we often find ourselves facing challenges that we never could have anticipated. Yet, by placing our trust in God, we learn to adapt to change with grace and resilience, knowing that He is guiding us through every trial and tribulation. In addition to offering comfort and strength, finding refuge in God invites us into a deeper relationship with Him. As we seek refuge in His presence through prayer, meditation, and study of His Word, we grow closer to Him and study of His Word. We grow closer to Him and come to know Him more intimately. This deepening relationship brings us joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose that transcends the troubles of this world. Furthermore, finding refuge in God empowers us to overcome fear and anxiety. In a world filled with uncertainty and danger, it's easy to succumb to fear and worry about the future. However, by placing our trust in God's unfailing love and protection, we can face the unknown with courage and confidence, knowing that He is always with us, guiding and protecting us every step of the way. Ultimately, finding refuge in God is not just a temporary escape from life's troubles, but a transformative journey of faith and growth. It calls us to trust in God's goodness and providence, even when the storms of life rage around us. As we surrender ourselves to His care and guidance, we discover a refuge that is steadfast and sure, offering us hope, peace, and strength for the journey ahead. Finding refuge in God is a profound and life-changing experience that offers us comfort, strength, and hope in times of trouble. It calls us to trust in God's love and provision, even when the world around us seems dark and uncertain. May we always turn to God as our refuge, knowing that in Him we will find peace that surpasses all understanding. Finding refuge in God also invites us to practice patience and perseverance. In moments of distress, it's natural to seek immediate solutions or relief from our troubles. However, God often works in mysterious ways, and His timing may not align with our own. Through prayer and trust in His plan, we learn to wait patiently for His guidance and intervention, knowing that He is always working for our good even when we cannot see it. Moreover, finding refuge in God encourages us to cultivate a spirit of humility and surrender. In a world that often glorifies self-reliance and independence, acknowledging our need for God's help can feel humbling. Yet, it's in our moments of surrender that we experience His grace most profoundly. By surrendering our will and desires to God, we open ourselves up to His transformative power and allow Him to work miracles in our lives. Finding refuge in God also empowers us to overcome feelings of despair and hopelessness. In times of trouble, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture and succumb to feelings of despair and to feelings of despair and defeat. However, by placing our trust in God's promises and steadfast love, we can find renewed hope and optimism, even in the darkest of times. His faithfulness reminds us that no matter what challenges we face, we are never alone, and there is always reason to hope. Furthermore, finding refuge in God inspires us to live lives of gratitude and generosity. When we recognize God as our ultimate refuge, we become aware of the countless blessings He has bestowed upon us, both big and small. This awareness fills our hearts with gratitude and motivates us to share our blessings with others, extending God's refuge to those in need through acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity. Finding refuge in God also strengthens our faith and trust in Him. As we navigate life's challenges with God as our refuge, we witness His faithfulness and provision firsthand. Each time He delivers us from trouble or answers our prayers, our faith is deepened, and our trust in Him grows stronger. This deepening faith becomes a source of strength and stability, sustaining us through every trial and tribulation. Finding refuge in God is not merely an abstract concept, but a practical reality that has the power to transform our lives. It offers us comfort, strength, and hope in times of trouble, guiding us through life's storms with grace and resilience. May we always turn to God as our refuge, trusting in His love and provision to sustain us through every challenge we face. Finding refuge in God invites us to embrace forgiveness, both of others and ourselves. In moments of turmoil, resentment and self-blame can weigh heavily on our hearts. However, by seeking refuge in God's boundless mercy, we learn to release the burdens of bitterness and guilt. Through His grace, we can extend forgiveness to those who have wronged us and offer ourselves the same compassion, finding healing and freedom in the process. Moreover, finding refuge in God fosters a sense of peace and contentment in the midst of life's uncertainties. In a world driven by ambition and material pursuits, it's easy to fall into the trap of constantly striving for more. Yet, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we discover a peace that transcends worldly success and possessions. Contentment blooms in our hearts as we find fulfillment in His presence alone, regardless of our external circumstances. Finding refuge in God also invites us to confront our fears with courage and faith. Fear often paralyzes us, preventing us from stepping out in faith and pursuing our dreams. However, when we trust in God's unwavering presence and protection, we can face our fears head-on, knowing that He is with us every step of the way. With His strength as our refuge, we can overcome even the greatest of fears and boldly embrace the path He has set before us. Furthermore, Finding refuge in God deepens our sense of identity and purpose. In a world that constantly bombards us with messages of inadequacy and worthlessness, it's easy to lose sight of our true value. Yet, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we are reminded of our inherent worth as His beloved children. We discover a sense of purpose that transcends worldly achievements, finding fulfillment in serving His kingdom and bringing glory to His name. Finding refuge in God also invites us into a deeper intimacy with Him through prayer and worship. In moments of trouble, our natural inclination may be to turn inward and rely solely on our own strength. However, when we choose to seek refuge in God, we open ourselves up to His presence and power. Through prayer and worship, we commune with the Almighty, finding solace and strength in His loving embrace. Finding refuge in God is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom and strength. It is a conscious choice to trust in His unfailing love and provision, even when the world around us seems uncertain. As we anchor ourselves in His refuge, we discover a peace that surpasses all understanding and a strength that enables us to overcome every obstacle. May we always turn to God as our refuge, finding comfort, strength, and hope in His steadfast presence. Finding refuge in God invites us to cultivate a spirit of perseverance and resilience in the face of adversity. Life is filled with trials and tribulations that can leave us feeling overwhelmed and defeated. However, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we tap into a reservoir of strength and perseverance that enables us to endure even the most challenging circumstances. With God as our refuge, we can face adversity with courage and resilience, knowing that He is with us every step of the way. Moreover, finding refuge in God empowers us to overcome the temptation to despair in times of trouble. It's natural to feel discouraged when faced with difficult situations, but despair only serves to deepen our sense of hopelessness. When we turn to God as our refuge, we are reminded of His promises of hope and restoration. His presence infuses us with renewed confidence and optimism, enabling us to face our challenges with a sense of hope and expectation. Finding refuge in God also invites us to surrender our worries and anxieties into His loving care. In a world filled with uncertainty and turmoil, it's easy to become consumed by worry and fear about the future. However, when we entrust our concerns to God, we experience a profound sense of peace and serenity. His promise to never leave us nor forsake us reassures us that we need not face life's uncertainties alone. With God as our refuge, we can release our worries and anxieties into His capable hands, knowing that He will provide for our every need. Furthermore, finding refuge in God empowers us to cultivate a spirit of gratitude and thanksgiving in all circumstances. It's easy to become fixated on our troubles and hardships, losing sight of the countless blessings that surround us each day. However, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we are reminded of His abundant goodness and faithfulness. His presence fills us with gratitude for His provision, His protection, and His unfailing love. With hearts overflowing with thanksgiving, we can approach each day with joy and appreciation for the blessings that God has bestowed upon us. Finding refuge in God also invites us to cultivate a spirit of humility and dependence on Him. In a world that often values self-sufficiency and independence, it can be tempting to rely solely on our own strength and abilities. However, when we acknowledge God as our refuge, we recognize our inherent need for Him in every aspect of our lives. His presence humbles us, reminding us that apart from Him, we can do nothing. With hearts surrendered to His will, we can trust in His guidance and provision, knowing that He will lead us on the path of righteousness and abundance. Finding refuge in God is not merely a temporary escape from life's troubles, but a transformative journey of faith and trust. It is a conscious choice to anchor ourselves in His unfailing love and provision, even when the storms of life rage around us. As we surrender ourselves to His care and guidance, we discover a refuge that is steadfast and sure, offering us hope, peace, and strength for the journey ahead. May we always turn to God as our refuge, knowing that in Him we will find comfort, strength, and hope in times of trouble. Finding refuge in God also invites us to cultivate a spirit of compassion and empathy towards others. In times of trouble, it can be easy to become consumed by our own struggles and lose sight of the suffering of those around us. However, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we are reminded of His heart for the broken and the hurting. His presence fills us with compassion and empathy, prompting us to reach out to those in need and offer them the same refuge and comfort that we have found in Him. Moreover, finding refuge in God empowers us to confront our weaknesses and shortcomings with humility and grace. It's natural to feel inadequate or unworthy in the face of life's challenges, but God's refuge reminds us that His strength is made perfect in our weakness. When we surrender our weaknesses to Him, He transforms them into sources of strength and resilience. With His grace as our refuge, we can face our imperfections with confidence, knowing that He is working all things together for our good. Finding refuge in God also invites us to cultivate a spirit of perseverance and determination in our faith journey. The Christian walk is not always easy, and we may face many obstacles and trials along the way. However, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we are empowered to press on with unwavering faith and determination. His presence fills us with the strength and courage we need to endure, knowing that He is faithful to complete the work He has begun in us. Furthermore, finding refuge in God enables us to find meaning and purpose in the midst of suffering. While pain and suffering are inevitable parts of life, they do not define us or determine our worth. When we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we discover that even our deepest hurts and struggles can be redeemed for His glory. His presence transforms our suffering into opportunities for growth and transformation, enabling us to become vessels of His love and grace in the world. Finding refuge in God also invites us to cultivate a spirit of trust and obedience in our relationship with Him. Trusting God can be challenging, especially when we cannot see the outcome of our circumstances. However, when we anchor ourselves in His refuge, we learn to trust in His goodness and faithfulness, even when His ways are beyond our understanding. His presence empowers us to step out in faith and obedience, knowing that He is always with us, guiding and directing our steps. Finding refuge in God is a transformative journey that offers us comfort, strength, and hope in times of trouble. It is a conscious choice to anchor ourselves in His unfailing love and provision, even when the storms of life rage around us. As we surrender ourselves to His care and guidance, we discover a refuge that is steadfast and sure, offering us hope, peace, and strength for the journey ahead. May we always turn to God as our refuge, knowing that in Him we will find comfort, strength, and hope in times of trouble. Finding refuge in God invites us to embrace the beauty of surrender and acceptance. Often we strive to control every aspect of our lives, clinging tightly to our plans and desires. However, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we learn the freedom that comes from surrendering to His will. His presence teaches us to release our grip on control and trust in His perfect plan for our lives. In surrender, we find peace and fulfillment beyond measure. Moreover, finding refuge in God inspires us to seek healing and restoration for our wounded hearts. Life's trials can leave us scarred and broken, but God's refuge offers a safe space for healing and renewal. His presence gently soothes our pain and brings restoration to our weary souls. In His refuge, we find the strength to forgive, the courage to heal, and the hope to move forward with joy and purpose. Finding refuge in God also empowers us to overcome the grip of fear and doubt that can paralyze us in times of trouble. The uncertainties of life often fuel our fears, causing us to doubt ourselves and God's promises. However, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we find the courage to face our fears head-on. His presence fills us with a confidence that transcends our circumstances, enabling us to walk boldly in faith and trust. Furthermore, finding refuge in God encourages us to cultivate a spirit of resilience and perseverance. Life's challenges can be overwhelming, testing the limits of our strength and endurance. Yet, when we anchor ourselves in God's refuge, we discover a wellspring of resilience within us. His presence infuses us with the strength and courage we need to press on, even in the face of adversity. With His refuge as our anchor, we can weather life's storms with grace and perseverance. Finding refuge in God also invites us to experience the transformative power of His love in our lives. His love is unconditional, unchanging, and unwavering, offering us a refuge of warmth and acceptance. In His presence, we find solace for our weary souls and strength for our tired hearts. His love heals our wounds, restores our hope, and fills us with an unshakable peace that surpasses all understanding. Finding refuge in God is a journey of discovery and transformation that offers us comfort, strength, and hope in times of trouble. It is a conscious choice to anchor ourselves in His unfailing love and provision, trusting in His goodness and faithfulness. As we surrender ourselves to His care and guidance, we discover a refuge that is steadfast and sure, offering us peace and strength for the journey ahead. May we always turn to God as our refuge, knowing that in Him we will find comfort, strength, and hope in times of trouble. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering the profound refuge found in God's embrace. We hope this video has inspired and encouraged you to anchor yourself in His unwavering love and provision. No matter the challenges you may face, remember, you are never alone, and God is always there to offer comfort, strength, and hope. If you found this video meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that uplifts and inspires. Together, let's continue to seek refuge in God and journey towards a life filled with peace, purpose, and divine guidance. Until next time, may you find peace in His presence. God bless.